What's going on, everybody? Please forgive me, I am recovering from a cold, and man, being sick is just the worst. Yes? Yes. But that's not stopping me. I am going to start working on a project that I have put off for long enough, mostly out of fear from failure, but today I'm gonna get it going, at least. It's gonna take me a few days. But real quick story. I, like most of you, all of you, had a grandfather. He has passed. We called him Papa, and Papa was a woodworker. And more specifically, Papa was a woodturner. Papa was the reason that I got into wood turning. I inherited his small tabletop mini lathe when he passed away. And of course, I wanted to make him proud, and I wanted to start turning things, and I wanted to allow him to live on through me and through the work that I did. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. I miss my Papa. I'm back. Sorry, I'm back. I wanted him to live on through me, and I wanted to be able to make him proud. I really do believe that he's watching over me, and that, you know, he's seeing the work that I'm doing, and that he also is impressed with what I'm doing. One of the things that Papa is known for is his rolling pins. He made a few of them for some people in my family, and the jealousy has gone on and on and on about having rolling pins from Papa. So he made a few rolling pins for people in my family, mostly his own children, and of course the grandchildren then wanted some. Unfortunately, he passed before he was able to make them some. He did, however, make one for my oldest sister, Rachel, and well, I guess he forgot to leave her the care instructions. And she did the thing that, well, not a lot of people, I guess, know when you receive wooden items for the kitchen, such as bowls or rolling pins or spoons or whatever. She did the one thing that you're not supposed to do. Yeah, she left the rolling pin in a sink full of water. But Trevor, why aren't you supposed to leave wooden items in a sink full of water? Aren't you supposed to wash them? Yeah, you're supposed to wash them, but you're not supposed to soak them in water. Wood absorbs water, and when it absorbs water, it expands, okay? And when wood expands, it tends to crack, okay? Please, please do not leave your wooden kitchen utensils in water. Wash them by hand and leave them out to dry on a drying rack. Do not leave them in a sink full of water, and do not put them in the washing machine. Please. That being said, it's not, I guess, common knowledge to know these things, so I'm giving you knowledge if you don't know already, and I will be putting out a video on how to maintain your wooden kitchen utensils soon. But for now, don't put them in water. Otherwise, this happens. You take a priceless family heirloom and turn it into firewood. Luckily for my sister, she knows a very handsome and very talented wood turner who can hopefully fix this. So that is what we're gonna be doing today. We're gonna be using a decent amount of epoxy, and we're going to try and stabilize this rolling pin so that it is usable again. One of the main things I do not want to do is return this. I know I can, but I don't want to. I want to leave it as pure as I can. So let's get into it. So the first thing I had to do was examine the piece. I had to see if it was still round, if I did need to actually turn it, and what the heck was going on with these cracks. And after I'd actually taken a good look at it, I think that most of these cracks were already in the piece, especially this big one, and I think that Papa filled it with either wood filler or glue and sawdust, which would definitely allow for this thing to basically explode when it was settled in some water. Cleaning it out though was pretty easy. I just took a sharp utensil like my knife and just chipped away at everything. I tried to get as much of this cookie crumble as I could out of all of the cracks and crevices, and I think I did a pretty good job at it. Making sure that these things are properly cleaned out is really important, because when I go to pour epoxy in them, I want the epoxy to be sticking to the wood and not the glue particles that were already in there. So I just took a brush and I just tried my best to really make sure everything was out. Once the cleaning process was done, it was now time to prep the rolling pin blank. My idea behind this was to tape off the rolling pin so that any epoxy that got onto it, I could basically just peel it off and I wouldn't have to return this blank at all. And then I was going to take some hot glue and build a dam around the cracks so that the epoxy couldn't overflow and get all over the rolling pin. With this project in mind, I reached out to Total Boat and asked them what they thought would be best for this rolling pin project, and they recommended their Total Boat thick set, so that way it could get as far down into the crack as possible and really give me the coverage that I needed. I also added my own sort of pigment to the epoxy just to give it a nice black look, and I think it's going to look really good in the end.
What? Where's the footage? Where'd it go? It was here. I filmed it. I know I filmed it. Where did it go? No. So I actually had footage of me pouring the epoxy into this blank, but I don't know where it went. I remember filming it, but I have no idea what I did with the filming part of it after I filmed it. I mean, this was 3 months ago, so it's very possible I filmed it and then deleted it. But I don't know. Basically, it didn't go the way that I had planned. I poured all the epoxy into all the cracks and I had some leaks and things like that. And then, well, it took 2 or 3 attempts for me to actually fill all of the cracks. And it poured all over the blank and the tape stuck to it and everything. And it was a mess. But everything cured up and we're ready to turn it. So let's get back to that.
So after I got the epoxy poured and it had cured up, I came to the conclusion that I just really needed to return this thing. The only reason I didn't want to turn it in the beginning was because I really didn't want to mess up. If I got a catch on this thing or if I just had to reshape it in some form, I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep this rolling pin as pure as possible and just keep it the way that I found it. But as you can see, this thing wasn't perfectly round, and so I'm glad that I did end up returning it, because now I can bring it back true and make it perfectly round again. I don't know why, but rolling pin handles are super intimidating to me. I think it's a thought of, like, if the handle doesn't fit perfectly well in the baker's hands, they won't be able to roll out the perfect dough or something like that. So I just really took my time and tried to keep these handles as close to the way that they originally were, which I thought felt perfect. This one side of the rolling pin was inscribed by my papa for my sister, and I really wanted to keep that the best I could, which means I basically couldn't turn that little side of the rolling pin. I did end up just kissing it a little bit just to make sure that it was square, but I think I nailed it. I think that it still came out, you can still read it, and it looks great. Another cool part of this project is this
skew chisel right here was from my papa. He even turned this very rolling pin with this same tool, so it's just kind of fun that I got to reuse it on the same piece that he used it on. But I think I got everything nice and round, and it looks really, really good. All the epoxy came out looking great, and all I had to do was final sand it. For the sanding, I just started at 120 and worked my way up to 220 and called it a day. This rolling pin is solid cherry, well, mostly solid cherry and epoxy, so it sanded like a dream, and I think it came out looking really good and ready for some finish. For the finish, I'm going to be using Walrus Oil's Furniture Butter. It's a mixture of wax and oils that's going to be really good for the rolling pin, and it's also food safe. Putting a good finish on this thing is very important because I do not want to have to return this thing or fix it again. The oils and the wax together are going to be very protective and hopefully give this rolling pin a long life. I did let the finish sit for about a day so it could really soak in all of the oils and waxes, and then it was ready to come off the lathe. For the end of the rolling pin, I just put some CA glue in the little divots that the lathe makes, and this thing was done.
Well guys, we did it. This thing came out looking so good. I am super happy with the way that this thing came out. Even though I had to turn it, something I didn't want to do, I'm actually really glad that I did, because I was able to bring it back to true, so now it's good and flat and round. A lot of the top layer of wood was worn away and just bad wood, so turning it really did bring an advantage to this rolling pin. The epoxy settled in so beautifully. It really got way deep down in all the cracks, and I can definitely say that I don't think that this thing is going to be cracking anytime soon. The epoxy I used for this was Total Boat Thick Set. It was recommended by Total Boat, so of course I had to go with it. They're not a sponsor of this video, but I'm always grateful for their help. Being able to work on this rolling pin was really an honor. I have a lot of respect for my grandpa and a lot of love for him, and just being able to work on this again and be able to handle something that he worked on and he made allowed me to get those feelings again of feeling close to him. I feel like I accomplished the same amount of craftsmanship that he put into this rolling pin, and I think that this rolling pin came out even more priceless because now my papa has worked on it and I have worked on it. 2 wood turners in the family, 2 different generations. I think that's pretty cool. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope that you got some knowledge out of this video. Leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, be good, be safe, be happy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace!